the FLX board, thank you so much for all that you do to uplift our community. 2020 has been a challenging year. We know that. It's been challenging for communities across the globe, and we faced personal, professional, and societal hardships that no one could have ever expected or prepared for. I think about this time last year when we were meeting in Ithaca in person, celebrating our 2019 awardees and partners in philanthropy. And just a few months later, everything had shifted. Hats off to all of you for being here today and for everything that you've overcome personally and professionally to celebrate with us today. In the face of this monumental change, I have been very proud to be part of this community who has chosen not to let the many challenges we've faced divide us, but people have really come together to uplift each other. My heart is very full when I think about the many instances I've heard about, read about, or witnessed where philanthropy, creativity, resourcefulness, and generosity showed up in our community, where you showed up in our community. Thank you so much. It's truly an inspiration and a testament to how special the Finger Lakes really is. And this is what we're here to celebrate today. National Philanthropy Day is a global movement. It's been around since the 80s. So by joining us today, you are part of one of hundreds of events happening across the world to celebrate generosity. The AFP Finger Lakes chapter has been celebrating the generous individuals and businesses in our region for nearly 20 years. The impact of those individuals and businesses over that time is profound and far-reaching. Every person, issue, cause, individual, animal, what have you, that you've touched with your philanthropy has been able to ripple out into other far-reaching areas and corners of our Finger Lakes region. That's the great impact that today's awardees and partners in philanthropy have also had. We are thrilled to recognize you and honor you today for what you do truly matters. And it impacts so many people that you will never meet and will reach farther than you'll ever know. Again, we couldn't be more thrilled and grateful that you're here. During this abbreviated virtual awards celebration, we will be spotlighting each awardee who is here with us today and show a video about each one. We will also take time to honor our many other partners in philanthropy that were recognized by area nonprofit leaders. You can follow along and read more about NPD and our awardees in our digital program book. That link is in the chat. You can also use the chat to send shout outs to your partners in philanthropy, cheer for our awardees with messages, as well as using some of the fun Zoom reactions. So grab your tissues, your cup of coffee, and buckle in for this ride through generosity in the Finger Lakes. Guiding us today is going to be a fantastic MC, Eliza Van Court. She is, among many things, an activist, mentor, speaker, teacher, mother, intersectional feminist, human, and author of the upcoming book published by Barrett Kohler called A Woman's Guide to Claiming Space. Eliza is a Cook House Fellow at Cornell University, an advisory board member of the Performing Arts for Social Change, and was just recently named one of the Govern for America's League of Innovators. A student of the arts and political science, Eliza is the creator of a highly regarded talk commissioned by MIT focused on mentorship and institutionalized racism. And she is the founder of Central New York's preeminent Meisner Technique acting studio called the Actors Workshop of Ithaca. Before COVID, she traveled throughout the world delivering keynotes and conducting workshops on global communication, women in communication, and anti-racist communication. Her work is focused on actionable communication skills which promote individual success while also contributing to a better world for all. We are so very lucky to have Eliza, who was born and raised in the Finger Lakes, join us today to celebrate these awardees who are very much like her. They are selfless, leaders, activists, and givers. Eliza, I am so glad that you're here with us. So without further ado, please take it away.
Sorry about that. I thought I would be unmuted. Thank you so much. I am really excited to be here. This is so personally meaningful for me for so many reasons. This community and the people who've invested in it, they've impacted my life in so many ways. When I was 4.5, my mom became paranoid schizophrenic, and I had a very hard time. And my father got me a big sister in the Big Sister, Big Brother program. And that completely transformed my life. Alice was there. I was the flower girl in her wedding. And then she ended up, when I got hit by a car in my 40s, getting to the hospital before my parents did. So she made a huge impact on my life. She actually ended up being the head of the Youth Bureau, Alice Green, and she was a role model for me. And eventually, after college, I spent a year working as a youth worker at the Big Sister, Big Brother program. So I've been the benefit of services in this community, many services, some of which we'll actually mention today. But the other part of that is that I grew up with the tradition of service in my family. And that was huge for me, huge. I was raised by my father, Tace Van Court, and my mother, Beth Prentice. And in our family, community and the idea of serving community was just an expectation. So they didn't tell us that we had to make a difference. What they did was so much more powerful. They showed us. They showed us the importance and the power of community engagement just by doing it themselves. So my dad was Ithaca's director of planning and development for 35 years. He was a public servant. He was actually the guy who decided it would be a good idea to have the pedestrian mall that we now know as the Commons downtown. And my stepmom was the director of INHS and the first woman to do the job. And eventually she went on to run Neighbor Works for both New York and Puerto Rico. And then she ran their capital strategies for the entire nation. And she was asked to go to DC and run the department out of there. And she said no, she wanted to do it in Ithaca. And she did. And she created many, many jobs in the community by doing so. Today, they're both retired, but my mother is working on educating children in Nepal because she was in the Peace Corps there, my stepmom, and my father sits on multiple boards. So I grew up sitting around the dinner table, and my dad would, talk about politics. My stepmother would talk about politics. They'd talk about how to give back to the community. And for me, it was just a part of my life. And now I do the same thing with my kids. And all of them care about the world. They're very opinionated. Um, we argue all the time, but they all want to make a difference and they all have different ways that they think it should be done. So all of this is to say that the award winners today are making a huge difference in the here and now, but they're also ensuring that generations after them understand the value of giving back. And I think that's so important. They're modeling engaged citizenship. And by doing so, they're creating future generations of engaged citizens. So thank you so much for letting me be a part of this and honoring these incredible people. They are obviously a gift for our present, but I truly believe they're also a gift for our future. And of course, we're here today to celebrate National Philanthropy Day. And before we dive in, I want to share a little bit about what National Philanthropy Day actually is. So NPD is a celebration of philanthropy that highlights the impact of giving, volunteering, and charitable engagement and what that gives to our society and the world. So President Reagan proclaimed the first National Philanthropy Day on November 15th, 1986. I was in high school. And every year since, communities across the globe have celebrated this day by hosting events just like this to recognize activities, donors, volunteers, founders, leaders, corporations, and others that are engaged in philanthropy. And in the Finger Lakes, AFP celebrates National Philanthropy Day by announcing 4 really special awards based on nominations from our community. And while we typically gather together to congratulate each other over lunch, we care too much about each other to celebrate that way this year. So we're really happy to share, however, that each of these awardees and nominators will still have a chance to share with you today through a series of safely pre-recorded short videos. And I have seen them, so I would just recommend that if you need to grab tissues, I think you should go get them now. So let's dive right in. First, I would like to introduce 2020 Philanthropists of the Year, Heather and Bruce Lane. And in the words of their nominator, Stephanie Meyer, and I quote, Heather and Bruce Lane were the first community members to step forward during COVID with a significant gift to help ensure that community services continue to meet the needs of local children. In their case, it was the GIAC pool. It was an inspiring moment during a very dark time, and their generosity has inspired others. The lanes were catalysts. And this is not an isolated incident. In gratitude for the community support for their business, the lanes have long given back to many organizations in the community. So now we're going to hear from Heather and Bruce and GIAC.
So, yes, I'm Leslyn McBean Claiborne, and I am the current executive director of the Greater Ithaca Activity Center, known to most people as GIAC. GIAC has been around since 1972, and we provide programming that provide recreational, educational, multicultural support, as well as support for social and individual development. So that's a big part of us. Man, this community came out in numbers to support GIAC throughout this pandemic. Yeah, I don't know what we would have done this summer if not for all those donations. We wouldn't have been able to do it. So that's one thing the community kept saying. Goodness, with everything going on and we're all shut down, can we please at least have one recreational outlet? The pool would seem safe because of all the chemicals and chlorine and everything else, right? It seemed like the thing to do. We opened July 4th and we worked like crazy to open July 4th. It was like 2 weeks of rapid fire to get it open. You know, we had to hire people on the spot, get the pool manager back to work because he was on furlough, just pulling people in, using some volunteers, like help us so we can get it going. We hired 15 lifeguards, we hired 8 teens and taught them to be COVID checkers. That's, for me, that's probably the biggest impact, because here are 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds who are learning to interact with different community members coming to the pool. All the safety precautions for COVID, those were primarily done by teens, and we trained them. And they did an excellent job. That we had a whole pool facility that ran this entire summer with no problems with COVID. So yeah, the impact of being able to open the pool, to provide a space for young people, to provide employment, you know, a place for community and families to come, you know, I know that they were safe. It was, I can't describe it. I don't know what the word is, you know, to describe it. It's just love. Bruce and Heather led with love in this instance, and we so appreciate it. So thank you, Bruce and Heather, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for believing in community and being community.
This is Bruce Lane, right here. He's the man behind why we have chocolate chip cookies and brownies and pie and
this is Heather. This is Heather Lane. She is my enabler. Well, I've been inspired during this time of COVID with what I see as the initiative of many people to do good things, even though it's hard to do it, harder than normal.
Bruce said to me, we need to do something for our community. I think you sent an email to the mayor.
The wonderful thing about, you know, Ithaca is we have a mayor that always has the needs of kids way, way up in his thinking. And by just bringing him into the question, the dinner table question of what could we do during these times of COVID to help, he had a ready answer. And our job, our role was to say, good answer, here's some resources.
Yeah, so that, you know, it was that simple that he just wanted to make sure that that's what we did, because it would have a pivotal effect for our community in downtown, right? So that's what we wanted to give to. it's the kids who come here too, you know, it's our neighborhood, it's, you know, all of it, so.
There should be a study on the endorphins of philanthropy. When we would drive by the pool and it was closed, there were no endorphins circulating in our car. But when you drive by and you hear everybody splashing around,
Yeah.
it's happiness.
So then we have this money and there's other people who are suffering. We know that from our own families, children are home. And this is hair raising, right? Like, how are all these families doing this? How can they do this? How can they be home? Now it's summer, nothing's open. What on earth are these children gonna do, right? And so it was really—
the parents, what are the parents?
And the parents, right? It was really easy to say yes to this because we knew they would have something physical, they would be outside, they could scream and holler and be in a pool, right? This is what kids need, to let that go. Can you imagine being cooped up? We felt really fortunate, and when we knew our business was gonna be okay by the response of the community, simple, right? Give me a little goosebump, but it's, yeah. We can do this. Let's do it. And so, yeah.
You know, a wise person recently said to me that the community is bigger than each of us. Once you get that in your mind, once you realize that the things that you're struggling with compared to what other people are struggling with is maybe not so bad, then it's an easy step to help others. When you think about giving and you think about philanthropy, it just about anything in life, it's easy to do it when times are good. It's harder to do it when times are difficult, which is when you really need to do it.
Yeah.
So I think that anybody at any time, even when things are really bad, can find a way to do something for somebody else.
Their neighbor.
Or to give some money for somebody else, because there's always somebody that has it a little bit rougher than you do.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Heather and Bruce, for all that you do for our community. And, you know, I also just have to shout out to Leslyn McBean, Claiborne. She has done so much work for our community. It's just astounding to me. And, you know, she's actually a dear friend of mine, and I've never seen someone work harder. So thank you, Heather and Bruce, and thank you, Leslyn. I actually grew up going into that pool. I was with the Ithaca Ballet, and I also went to BJM for some of my elementary school. And that place holds such a special place in so many people's hearts of this community. And, you know, the first time I watched that video, I cried. So I'm glad I got to watch it before today, but thank you so much. Next, I would like to introduce the 2020 Philanthropist of the Year, and that is the Tompkins Financial Corporation. So actually, it's the 2020 Corporate Philanthropist of the Year. As their nominator says, TFC is, quote, a cornerstone of Ithaca's community for over 180 years. The TFC has a long history of supporting charities, nonprofits, and civic organizations throughout the Finger Lakes community. In addition to providing corporate sponsorship and support, the members of the TFC team are frequent volunteers. They can be helping at community events or serving on boards at a myriad of organizations throughout the region, or sharing their financial expertise and guidance. And, you know, when you look around our community and you see the rich legacy of support that TFC has imparted, it's just incredible. And in the city of Ithaca alone, you'd be really hard pressed to find an organization that hasn't benefited from their support. So it is my distinct honor to hear a few words from TFC and the Science Center.
Hi, I'm Michelle Kortendar. I'm the Executive Director here at the Science Center in Ithaca, and I lead this amazing team of people who serve our community so well. The Science Center has faced many challenges as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. One of the challenges has been people feeling comfortable coming here and visiting. Another challenge has been that we were closed for 4 months, and being closed for 4 months meant that we had to really reimagine how we were going to engage our community. So we did things online. We've changed a lot of our exhibits to make them safe and to make people feel safe when they come to visit. We've changed our cleaning protocols, but it's been difficult. We have had a lot of support from our community, and we are so appreciative of that. That means that many philanthropists in town have stepped up in more generous ways. Our members have stepped up. We extended memberships for 4 months, but we've had members who've just said, no, we don't want that extension. We want to continue to contribute and be members of the Science Center. And of course, Tompkins Financial has been really helpful as well. We were inspired to nominate Tompkins Financial because they have been our partners. We've always had somebody from Tompkins Financial on our board, and they've stepped up as volunteers in that way, and that has been so immensely helpful to us. They have expertise and a willingness to share and a willingness to really sort of step into our mission and think about how to best serve what our mission is in this community. What I'd like to say to Tompkins Financial is thank you. We could not do our work without them. They allow us to continue to serve our community, both those who can afford to pay at the front and those who get free memberships, those who come in with EBT cards and come in for free. They allow us to continue to reimagine ourselves so that we continue to be relevant for our community as well. And we could not do this work without them. So thank you.
COVID-19 obviously caught everyone by surprise, I think, really. And I have just been completely impressed with our healthcare workers, the hospital staff and physicians have just been outstanding. Our reaction here in Tompkins County at Cayuga Medical Center and Cayuga Health Systems and their partnerships with the County Health Department and Cornell and the community really to be a leader in the state and the nation has really been inspiring in so many ways. People who are completely dedicated to taking care of their neighbors, taking care of the world. And we have so many not-for-profit organizations that have been born here. I think it just reflects on what a caring community Tompkins County is. So philanthropy is, there's dollars and there's service. And I think that this community has just a tremendous everyday example of people stepping up and doing what needs to be done. We have a very, very generous community, and you see it in every one of the organizations. And the Science Center was groundbreaking in its formation so many years ago. And they created a lot of community enthusiasm to create a place that is truly unique and a place where families and kids could be inspired to learn in a very creative way. I thank the Science Center for nominating Tompkins Trust Company for this award. We are truly honored to be recognized in this way. It's a part of what we do, and to be recognized for it is really just a real thrill for everybody here. So on behalf of everybody at Tompkins Trust Company and Tompkins Financial, I want to say thank you to the Science Center for nominating us for this award. We are truly appreciative of this recognition, so thank you.
Thank you so much, Tompkins Financial, for being a philanthropic pillar in our community. I have to say, I got my first checking account there, so I still remember my very bad signature. My dad brought me down. But more importantly, I know so many people since this pandemic who have said they would not have gotten by without the empathy and generosity of all of you. So you're helping people in ways I think you don't even understand in many ways. So thank you so much. It's really such an important service. Okay, so now I am pleased to introduce the 2020 Volunteer Fundraiser of the Year, and that is Jennifer Whitaker. Her nominator shares that, quote, Jennifer Whitaker has served for 7 years as a member of Cayuga Medical Center Foundation Board of Directors, serving as the chair for the last 4 years. And as a former nurse, Jennifer is passionate about high quality, compassionate, and person-centered healthcare. And her active participation as a board member to the CMC Foundation demonstrates her commitment to the hospital's mission of delivering such care. Jennifer, her husband Sean, and son Nick are also strong advocates of the YMCA of Ithaca and Tompkins County. The Whitaker family has participated as volunteers and financial supporters of the Y for many years. So without further ado, a word from Jennifer, CMC, and the YMCA of Ithaca and Tompkins County.
I'm Steve Savage, and I'm the Executive Director of the Cayuga Medical Center Foundation. As a provider of healthcare in the community, like so many other hospitals and other medical facilities, the COVID-19 pandemic required us to shut down many of our operations, particularly elective surgeries, which I think, as everyone understands, is a large, significant revenue source for the hospital. On top of that, we've had the need to scramble to make sure that we had enough PPE so we could safely care for members of our community. As soon as things started shutting down and it was clear that there were going to be issues, the outpouring of support from members of the community to donate PPE and food for our frontline healthcare heroes, as well as donors. They also recognize the importance of a strong community healthcare facility at this time. Jennifer Whitaker has been a tremendous supporter and advocate for the Cayuga Medical Center Foundation, Cayuga Health in general. So as an organization, we knew that we wanted to find a way to recognize Jennifer for all her hard work and what she has contributed to us. And so when AFP put out the call for nominations for Volunteer Fundraiser of the Year, we knew that would be a tremendous way to do that. And so we worked together with Frank Towner from the YMCA because Jennifer and her husband Sean have also been strong supporters for the Y, and put together a nomination that we felt really conveyed the importance of the work that she has done on behalf of our two organizations.
Hi, my name is Frank Towner. I'm the CEO at the YMCA. I'm inspired to nominate Jennifer as the Volunteer Fundraiser of the Year because she embodies what I think I and many other fundraisers aspire to be. It's not about the money as much as it is about the caring. People say that as a fundraiser, you have to ask people for money. It's not that way. It's an opportunity to allow people to give to something that they really believe in. So Jennifer's ability to reach people, to participate in discussions, to drive the needle forward in certain areas, it was very important to the growth of our organization. No mere words can be said well enough to say thank you. The support that you get on a personal level as well as a professional level is sincere. And that means a lot to me as a person who thrives on relationship building, whether it's personally or in the YMCA and the work that I do and the other organizations that I'm involved in. It is inspiring to have someone who I think really cares and shows that on a regular basis.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Whitaker, and I'm currently the president of the Cayuga Medical Center Foundation Board. I started off as dotting the I's and crossing the T's. I would prefer to lick stamps and envelopes, be behind the scenes. But I think as Jan Hertel, who used to be head of the Cayuga Medical Center Foundation and currently now is Steve Savage, they have appointed me president, which in general I run meetings, but I think One of my favorite aspects, and possibly the aspect that they considered the award, was help facilitate relationships with other individuals in the community and help with networking, which is extremely rewarding. So my relationship with the YMCA is definitely a friendship with Frank Towner, who runs the local YMCA. Amazing, charismatic individual who persuaded me. I've helped him over the last several years with their annual golf tournament that raises money for their YMCA. And of course, with having specialized in pediatrics and adolescents, I found it to be a very rewarding board. I've currently just been on the board for maybe 3 or 4 months, learning a whole new network of individuals in the community. As a healthcare provider, I've certainly seen the need for volunteer fundraising. Philanthropy and volunteerism strengthen every community. It's an area where individuals can certainly raise funds and monies that would help organizations provide services that certainly will benefit everyone in the community.
Jennifer's efforts as a volunteer fundraiser have had several different impacts on Cayuga Health and the Cayuga Medical Center Foundation. She has taken the time, she has recognized her role as a leader in the community and encouraged others to become involved, because she knows that it's, the community that we have here is one that runs on the good works of many of its members and their generosity.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. That was really amazing. It's interesting. I actually grew up going to the Y myself, and then I brought my kids to the Y, and I know Frank. And Frank used to joke with me every time I go in the building. I don't think I could walk by the desk without Frank saying something, and we would say hello. And it just was such a feeling of community. And as I was watching this, Jennifer, I was thinking about all of the people out there that are doing such good works, and they're doing it quietly, and they're touching so many lives, and the people don't know that there's somebody out there doing this for them. And yet we all owe you such a debt of gratitude. So this was incredibly moving for me to watch. And my kids, thank you, because when I was a stay-home mom for a while and I would go drop them off, I think part of the reason I kept my sanity is I could drop them off in that little drop off your kid place. So thank you so much. It's a wonderful organization. I also want to circle back to the Science Center for a second, simply because the Science Center was such an important part of me understanding about service, because my Uncle Bob Leathers, is very dear friends with my parents, and my parents were there on a community build when they built the Science Center because of Bob's design. And I remember my father saying to me, I said, why is everybody here to do all this stuff? And he said, well, that's what we do for each other. So that place was literally built by the community on a community build, quite literally. And every time I go in there, I feel like the spirit of our community is just in that place. So thank you so much. I loved going there with my kids when they were younger. So now for our last, but certainly not least, NPD Award. And it is my honor to introduce the 2020 Outstanding Professional in Nonprofit Leadership Award. And that goes to Sherry Koski. And in the words of Sherry's nominator, through Sherry's, though Sherry's role is incredibly demanding at the Ithaca Community Child Care Center, she still has taken the time to be involved with Rotary, the United Way, the Family Reading Partnership, Southern Tier Food Bank, and other local organizations. Actually, there were so many more, and I said, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that mouthful of all those different organizations. She is involved in everything. Sherry also dedicates time to uplifting the fundraising profession by serving as the treasurer of the AFP Finger Lakes Board of Directors. Sherry collaborates with everyone. She is always keeping herself informed of what other institutions are doing throughout the area, and is always generous while discussing an approach taken by IC3. And now a few words from Sherry and IC3 board member Sarah Tomei.
Well, when I saw the nomination form come out for the Outstanding Professional Leadership in Nonprofits, I immediately thought of Sherry. From early on this year, Sherry and I had some initial conversations. She just said, you know, how are we going to do this? How are we going to make this happen? And so to me, her leadership and her confidence throughout this year has just been remarkable, and that was the initial reason what prompted me to make the recommendation. Not only that, but she also has a major construction project going on, and she has continued to maintain all of her networking with the different nonprofits in the area. And throughout this year, this challenging year, she has been able to maintain her energy, maintain her focus, and I come back to that unwavering commitment to keep this center operating and to provide a place for families to send their children.
What's really inspired me this year has been the children. We've been in operation throughout the pandemic, offering different types of care, and seeing the children come in and the joy on their faces, seeing other kids, really made the challenges of dealing with the pandemic rewarding, as well as parents having the trust in IC3 to bring their children here. And you know, it's something that we're trying to do the best we can in a safe manner, but provide a sense of normalcy for kids and families. And the fact that the parents have instilled enough trust in us to partner with them to raise their children is definitely something that's helped get us through. Also, the staff at IC3 have been incredibly inspiring to see their resiliency as we have maneuvered our way through this pandemic and offered outstanding care to the children and families that we serve has been extremely humbling to be able to lead an organization that has such integrity on a day-to-day basis. I've been inspired by philanthropy since I was a very young child. One of my first memories of philanthropy, which I didn't know that that's what it was at the time, was going with my parents. They were part of the American Legion, and we would put together food boxes for Thanksgiving, Christmas, with the entire contents of the meal, and give gifts for children in need. And back then we arrived on the doorstep with them, and seeing the look on their face is something that must have resonated in me. So as an adult, I've always felt the need to volunteer for different events for organizations, but also, you know, give the best that I can, often giving to causes that are close to my heart and have something to do with what's going on within, you know, family matters or things of that sort, but also relational. So knowing people that are part of organizations or hearing about a need is something that I tend to kind of jump on that and say, how can I help in any way, whether it's volunteering my time or being able to make a contribution. A lot of organizations really rely on volunteers to help them achieve their missions. Oftentimes on a shoestring budget, we rely on volunteers to help us get tasks done. With more and more budget cuts and unfunded mandates, it's really important that we have the support of local philanthropy to help us, you know, accomplish the goals that we have set forth. For nonprofit professionals, I would encourage you to reach out to your fellow executive directors or professionals. You're not alone. As a new executive director, oftentimes you feel like you have to get it right the first time, and what I can say, what's brought me to where I am today and, you know, being honored to get this award is that I didn't do it alone, and I wasn't afraid to ask for help, whether it be creating a policy or dealing with an HR issue or, you know, anything that you're trying to do. Don't be afraid to use the resources to be the best that you can be. And the reality is we're better together, and I think, you know, reaching out to people and saying, you know, I need help, or does anyone have this resource, makes the whole community better, not just your organization. You know, it is an honor to be receiving the award with all of the other wonderful awardees, and it's too bad that we can't all be together in a room to celebrate together, but the fact that we're able to do it virtually is also exciting. So I extend my congratulations to all of the other awardees as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sherry. Your dedication to children, families, and the community is so inspiring. Thank you. Every one of the orgs that you have worked with has touched my life or the life of somebody that I love. So they don't all know you, but you have touched their lives. And, I want to highlight one thing that I think is so incredibly important. And that is just for me, when I saw your engagement with reading. My son is profoundly dyslexic, and I did all kinds of research on reading and realized that reading really saves lives. It stops underemployment, it stops incarceration, it reduces incarceration, it reduces so many of the ills in our society, and people don't know the impact of helping a child learn to read. So thank you. You do so many things, but for me, when I saw that, I thought, wow, that's one of the most important things we could possibly do for our communities, make sure all of our children are literate. So thank you. So what an incredible community we share. Thank you to all of the 2020 MPD awardees. While it is my great honor to announce these special awards, we can't go without thanking the countless individuals who dedicate their time, their treasure, their talent to nonprofit missions across our region. These partners in philanthropy truly make the Finger Lakes, our community, a place that I think is like no other. We could not be the community we are today without your extraordinarily selfless commitment. And you don't have to take my word for it. The community would like to tell you as well.
AFP Finger Lakes thanks the Legacy Foundation of Tompkins County for your support of National Philanthropy Day. We couldn't do this without you.
Tompkins Charitable Gift Fund has been a steadfast supporter of the NPD celebration, and they support initiatives all across our region and beyond. Thank you for all that you do to uplift our community and for being our partners in philanthropy.
AFP Finger Lakes chapter would like to thank StopL Analytics for their generous support as a National Philanthropy Day sponsor.
On behalf of AFP Finger Lakes chapter, thank you, Corning Foundation, for your sponsorship of National Philanthropy Day. We appreciate your support and your belief in all that we do.
AFP Finger Lakes wants to recognize United Way of Tompkins County for your generous support of National Philanthropy Day. Our sincere appreciation goes out to your entire team. Your leadership during this time is an inspiration, and we're honored to have your support as we celebrate National Philanthropy Day.
To the entire team at the Community Foundation of Tompkins County, thank you so much for your leadership during this really challenging year. AFP Finger Lakes is so honored to have you as a sponsor of this year's NPD event and to recognize you as our partner in philanthropy.
Hey, thanks so much, Westwind Consulting. You've been a longtime supporter of not only the AFP Finger Lakes chapter, but National Philanthropy Day awards. We couldn't do this without you.
The Finger Lakes chapter of the Association for Philanthropy sends a hearty thank you to CSP Management. CSP Management understands the importance of supporting philanthropy and supporting the leadership of philanthropy. So we can't thank you enough for your support of National Philanthropy Day.
This year, the Smith Center for the Arts is honoring Tony Shelton. You've been a hardworking, committed, and candid supporter of our mission. Thank you so much.
All of us at AFP Finger Lakes are truly thankful to you, Cayuga Medical Center Foundation, for your support of National Philanthropy Day 2020. We are honored to have the opportunity to come together to celebrate our community with the Cayuga Medical Center Foundation as a partner in philanthropy.
This year, all of us at Habitat for Humanity of Tompkins and Cortland Counties are thrilled to recognize CFCU Community Credit Union as our partner in philanthropy. CFCU has been our Women Build program sponsor for 10 fabulous years, and we're so grateful for all that you do to empower women to learn construction skills, to build community, and to build affordable housing. Of course, there would be no Women Build without CFCU. Thanks for all that you do.
The Cancer Research Center is thrilled to announce Nancy Whitebird as our partner in philanthropy. Nancy, you care so deeply about people facing cancer in our community, and this is obvious in the numerous ways that you offer support, from writing cards to making calls to helping establish new programs. You are an inspiration to all of us.
I would like to thank the Triad Foundation and Park family for your sponsorship of AFP of the Finger Lakes National Philanthropy Day. You've been a longtime supporter of philanthropy within our community, and we truly, truly appreciate your generosity.
This year, the Smith Center for the Arts is honoring Rebecca Burdett. as our partner in philanthropy. As a board member and as the leader of the Virtual Film Club, you've been a kind, creative, and tireless supporter of our mission.
I want to thank the Legacy Foundation of Tompkins County for being a partner in philanthropy. Their commitment and dedication to our community and improving the life in Tompkins County is unwavering. Thank you, Legacy Foundation.
At Finger Lakes AFP, we'd like to recognize the Solstice Group for their generous and loyal support as event sponsors for the NPD celebration and for their confidence and camaraderie in our shared mission. Thank you for being our partners in philanthropy.
Corning Children's Center is honored to recognize Hilda Lando as our philanthropic partner. For 40 years, the center has been in existence. We celebrated our 40th anniversary this year. And for all 40 years, you have been on our board. I am beyond grateful for the many ways you've contributed to the lives of our families, our children, and our staff. For that, we are all so grateful. We will miss you, we appreciate you, and we thank you for all you've done.
I want to celebrate Napier and Manning for their tireless, long-standing dedication to philanthropy and our community. Thank you, Napier and Manning.
Chrissy, darling, just want to say thank you to you so much for your wonderful years of support and dedication to the Kitchen Theater Company. Without you and your children, we quite literally would not be here. So thank you so much for bringing joy and inspiration to thousands of people over the years. I look forward to what the future holds, and I'm just very, very grateful. You're marvelous. Thank you.
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 Wow. Wow. That was absolutely wonderful. I feel so lucky to be a part of this community. Thank you, thank you, thank you to this year's Partners in Philanthropy for all the generous and impactful work that you do every day. And I think it's worth noting that you're doing it now in this incredibly challenging year for our nation and for our community. So thank you so much. I also want to give a big thank you to our event sponsors for making this celebration possible. You certainly have a lot to celebrate. And that, my friends, colleagues, role models, peers, and community is all we have for this MPD celebration. But I do want to end by saying that from what I have seen in this community and throughout my life, that caring, empathy, and engagement isn't really that hard to do in the short term. But sustained caring and empathy and engagement is really hard, and it takes a lot of time and sacrifice, and it's absolutely a marathon. It's not a sprint. So for everybody that we honor today and all the organizations that are working so hard to give back to our community and make it a better place, thank you for running this really hard but really rewarding marathon for our community. And finally, we would not be celebrating at all without the hard work of 3 women who organized this wonderful event. So Aurora Olbing, Kayla Wingert, and Susie Gutenberger Fitzpatrick. I just have to say, thank you guys. You are incredible. I cannot believe how much work you put into this to pull it off. Before we started this, they sort of said, what are we going to do with our lives now? Because they've been spending so much time working on this. I also want to mention that Susie Gutenberger Fitzpatrick and my father worked together. Susie's father was the mayor of Ithaca when my father was the mayor of Planning and Development. And when we started working on this project together, I suddenly thought to myself, wow, this really is living proof that caring is a learned skill, and it's a critical skill, and we teach it to our children. So it's been a really incredible circle of life moment for me, and really just really meaningful. So thank you, all 3 of you women, for all you do. And Susie, I've known you since 4th grade, and it's fun to be doing this with you. You help our community day, but you teach our children well. All of the people here involved today, the people who received awards, the organizations, all of you are creating future generations of adults who give back and who make a difference. So thank you to all the nominators who submitted excellent nominations, and to all of the nominees who are working so hard. And now I am going to pass it back to AFP Board President Krista Matea, who has worked so hard to make this all happen. Thank you, Krista.
Thank you, Eliza. Let's have a round of applause for Eliza. Thank you so, so much. We were really thrilled that you were part of this and very grateful. I also echo Eliza. Thank you to our awardees, our partners in philanthropy, our nominators, our nominees, and you attendees out there. I still see you on this Zoom, so thanks for hanging with us for this hour. You do such incredible work, and we couldn't do this without that. I also want to thank our AFP members for your commitment to strengthening philanthropy and the fundraising profession in our region. We invite you to learn more about our chapter and join us as a member. Our digital program this year contains a $50 discount for your AFP membership. So if you're looking for networking, inspiration, and to be part of a community of other nonprofit professionals, now's the time to join the AFP Finger Lakes chapter. We'd love to have you. If you want to check out one of our programs before you do join, I invite you all to join us for our last monthly program of the year on December 17th, where we'll talk about planned giving. And next year, I am very proud to announce that our education committee has been so hard at work putting together a phenomenal series of programs all around community center fundraising. So be sure not to miss those. I want to thank the AFP Finger Lakes Board. We are a small but mighty group of 12 individuals who work tirelessly, all volunteer run, to put on not only our monthly educational programs, networking events, but our signature conference and National Philanthropy Day Awards celebration, among many other things. I am so grateful to work amongst all of you and appreciate every minute that you have put into AFP Finger Lakes this year. I want to also echo Eliza to shout out Aurora, Kayla, and Susie. A huge thank you. Another round of applause for our 3 incredible co-chairs this year. This event was phenomenal. Some other thanks include Ancient Wisdom Productions for the great work on this video production. We were so proud to partner with you and appreciate your guidance and support on creating these excellent videos. Most of all, we're grateful that you hit the streets to capture our community members and our awardees in their element in a safe way during COVID. Now, you may have noticed the awesome handmade glass awards that the winners received. Winners, if you're out there still, if you have those handy and want to safely hold those up again, these awards were made by a local glass artist, Aaron Rovner Buck. He creates his amazing masterpieces at his family-owned shop, Hands On Glass Studio in Corning, New York. Be sure to check out Hands On Glass and admire those beautiful masterpieces. They truly are works of art. Those awards are gorgeous, so we hope that you display them proudly. Before I leave you today, I just want to echo and say one last thank you. We can't say it enough. You're truly inspiring, and you're the foundation of our community in our Finger Lakes region. I wish you all good health, prosperity, and safety as we head into the holidays and into a brand new year. See you all soon. Bye.